Hi, I'm a white male living in America. Allegedly. Oh, say, can you see I'm living in America? And you are watching Monday Night Live. I should do like a 3D episode sometime. Monday Night Live in 3D. AKA the Hangout stream, but also known as the Chill stream, baby. In the year of our Lord, for July 25th, 2022, and brought to you by yours truly, the man, broadcasting from behind the curtain. You know who I am. Because if you don't know by now, you can visit www.livefreeliverich.com or simply Google this name and you can find out. Now, for those of you who already know, welcome to the show. Go ahead, drop me a comment, say hello. No need to be shy. I just like to know who took the time to stop by. And for the rest of you who don't know, because perhaps you're new, that's okay too, because I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you. See, as far as I'm concerned, this is your show, and I'm here to fill the role of producer. So I come on here 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's 6 p.m. Pacific, every Monday night, and I boot up this live stream so we all can come together, readers and writers alike. You guys supplied me with things to talk about. And in return, I fulfill my role and raise awareness for various projects from around the underground scene. I become acquainted with you, you get to know me, and together, brother, we discover what's going down within the realm of independent publishing. Which brings me right into my first segment of the night, where I like to shine a spotlight on some books that are currently available or coming soon to an online marketplace near you. So, without further ado, let's jump into Twitter. From Vera's Book Corner comes Sandcastle. Sandcastle by Vera Pajkovski. Pajkovski. She said, pronounce her name right, or she will crush me like little bug. She actually did not say that. I just made that up, but I'm pretty sure I pronounced that properly. Sandcastle. Here's the blurb. The 18-year-old Nina is a girl with a head full of dreams and plans for her future, and she knows only for one love in her life, the love for acting. One sunny day, on a beach in Italy, she'll meet the young American Tom, with whom she'll spend together one unforgettable week, and he will show her a new kind of love. After that week, Tom has to return to America, and Nina returns home in Croatia. A year later, Nina and Tom remained on good terms. Very often, they sent friendly emails to each other. They're talking about their everyday lives, but none of them has mentioned what happened between them in Italy. For Nina, Tom wasn't just a summer love. The time and the fact that they live in different parts of the world can't change the way she feels about him. She believes that Tom is love that happens only once in a lifetime and love worth fighting for. Nina's big love for Tom doesn't know about obstacles or borders, and she decides to go to New York. But the only way to get a visa is to continue her education in America. She will successfully pass the audition, and for paying the college tuition, she'll sell her grandparents' heritage. But a month before she goes to New York, she'll receive an email from Tom, an email that will change everything. I wonder if it's a Dear John letter. What's going on, lurkers in the chat? If you have a book on the market that you'd like to get mentioned during the live stream, you can get in contact with me on any of my various social medias and just share a link. Let's see who we got up next. Hello. Another one from Twitter. This one comes from Jay Sprenger. He says, bro, smallpox has caused civilization to collapse. Now, a former lawyer turned road crawler must rescue his friend from the successor government. Interesting. A little bit of political intrigue in Plague Chronicles by Joseph Sprenger. I watched your video about I believe it was about the classics. Was that you? All right. I watch so many videos on YouTube. It's hard to keep up with everybody's. All right, Plague Chronicles, interesting cover. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before. It's a very short blurb. Neo, I think that's what he meant to say in his tweet. Neo smallpox has killed 6 billion people. 6 billion with a B. Former lawyer Ben Jameson has wandered the roads in search of his family for 10 years, but he is about to discover the true horror. Civilization. Dun, dun, dun. I'm moving kind of quick on this one because actually have a special video presentation for tonight that is quite lengthy. So I want to make sure I have plenty of time for that. Yes. Yeah. Isn't that your most recent one? I was gonna say where you were talking about Great Gatsby, but I wasn't 100% sure if that was your video. I just didn't want to get it wrong. But yeah, I also haven't read The Great Gatsby. I heard the novel. I like to read like classics that have movie adaptations because for me, I think that's fun to like read the novel and then see how much the movie adaptation differed from it. But I heard The Great Gatsby is one of those novels that just does not translate to film very well. Oh, yeah, of course. I say I like to, I subscribe to a lot of people on the Booktube and Authortube. I don't watch, like I said, I don't watch everybody's video, every single video that everybody uploads, but I keep tabs. I'm always keeping an eye out. Even if I don't always comment, I'm usually in there and I give it a watch. So let's see who's coming up next here. This is a two-time. She's been on the live stream before, as a matter of fact. We have this is from Dawn with her book, Racetrack Rogues, a story of love, hope, and healing with horses, mind you. Racetrack Rogues. It's a very long banner. Racetrack Roads, one woman's story of family, love, and loss in the horse racing world. So Dawn is a big fan of horses. Couldn't tell. Her last book that I covered by her was entitled Backstretch Girls. I enjoyed saying that title. Backstretch Girls. Yeah, it's just so many people to keep tabs with. But that's also a good thing too. I like the fact that the community is growing, if you will. All right. Racetrack Rogues. Let me see if I can get that a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Here's the blurb. This is a 2021 Dr. Tony Ryan Book Award finalist. I'm not familiar, but perhaps that's a big deal in the equestrian realm. 19-year-old Dahlia Leggett, or Dahlia Leggett, never dreamed that she'd wind up back at Garden State Park, training a ragtag stable of misfit thoroughbreds, or that she'd fall for Steve, the sexy son of a legendary trainer, Bill Bassett, her nemesis. But after the sudden death of her estranged mother, Marilyn, it's goodbye college and hello racetrack. Marilyn had once been a star jockey, but her relationship with her daughter was less than stellar. Robbed for sharing in a cheesy chick flick reconciliation with her mother, Dahlia is left with only memories, boxes of racing memorabilia, and a cottage on her grandparents' horse farm. When she stumbles upon a shocking videotape among Marilyn's possessions, it threatens her precarious relationship with Steve, but reveals a way that she can make amends to her mother. Can Dahlia achieve her mother's dream without losing the man she loves? And that is Racetrack Rogues by Dawn Lefebvre. See, I can do that because I'm French. All right, we got one more book to share, and then we're going to get into a few announcements. Okay. Christine, now this name, I'm not sure. Huner? I'm going to say Huner or what? Yeah, it looks like Huner. Christine Huner. Hi, Jonathan. She writes, Hi, Jonathan, my debut novel, 54 Holly Lane, a contemporary family drama, is described on my website. And we will be linking her website in the description during post-production. You guys can visit that. I always like to, it doesn't have to be your book shout out doesn't have to be from, Amazon specifically. It can be from your website, so you can kind of get a double plug. And 54 Holly Lane by Christine Huner. You do any writing, Monty? Okay. Let me see how I'm going to set this up here. Now this one's goes a little bit more in depth. This could be interesting. Let me set this up here. No, just reading. Okay. Get rid of that one. Get here. All right, so I'm going to read through this. This could be interesting. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks all right. Or maybe, I don't know. Let's go. Let me try something else. Let me do this. There. Let's put the cover on there. All right, so now available, 54 Holly Lane. Ashley and Tommy Gallagher are fully fledged members of the sandwich generation who move in with Tommy's aging parents, John and Peggy, to rescue them from bankruptcy. At the same time, they're also raising their two teenagers, Emily and Troy. Ashley's crush on a much younger colleague, John's hoarding, Peggy's denial of past wrongs. Oh, hold on. These are the turmoils of what's going on with each member of the family. I was reading that wrong. Ashley's crush on a much younger colleague, John's hoarding, Peggy's denial of past wrongs, and Tommy's work stress divide the family. When a major crisis occurs, will the Gallaghers be able to overcome their grievances and support one another, or will the family fall apart? A little bit of family drama there. I don't know if I should admit this on the live stream, but I actually, when I was younger, I actually was a fan of that show, Seventh Heaven. You remember that one? I used to watch that show after school. Seven Heaven. Okay, I'm not going to sing. So yeah, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to read through all of this because it is quite lengthy, but she actually, on her website, she did put a little bit of a synopsis, maybe a little bit of a backstory. She shares a little bit of backstory with each member of the family on the website. So that's quite interesting. I think that's good, good for the marketing. So you can check that out. Let's see what else. Now we're going to move into announcements. Announcements are basically if somebody's has a submission call, you're indie publisher, you have a submission call, I could announce that. If you have a book deal that's going on, I can announce that. Or if you're doing, say, if you're on Booktube and you're doing a buddy read or a read along of some sort, and say you make a video for announcing that, I could play that or just announce that, share that. And but today I'm announcing, let's see, I have one quick announcement from, I would say they are, well, it's kind of in the realm of Authortube, but more so leans more into the entertainment realm of YouTube. Although he is an author. Let me get the video. Let me get the screenshot here. You know me, always keeping my eye out for newbies. Well, it's not really new. That's the thing. Been around for a little while. Actually says here from Winslow Swan, he writes, my current project has been going on for almost a year and a half. So I think that's a year and a half on YouTube. However, he's been a writer for quite some time. It's full cast dramas of horror and mystery. And he wanted to announce that season 5 is starting soon. He says, yes, I write all the scripts and Crimson Mackenzie, my best friend, edits. Enjoy, and we will be lurking for you. Good stuff. And I've already, and this is someone that I've already discovered previously and had been watching some of their content, and it's top-notch stuff. And that is the announcement that I wanted to make, is that we're actually going to be watching one of those or listening to one of those programs here tonight, or shows, I should say, on during the live stream. I did receive permission. But just a couple other quick announcements before I get into reading time. And that is that the LFLR network is on Discord. The link should already be in the description down below. It's basically a place, more of a resource for creators, regardless if you're on Booktube or Authortube, a writer or avid reader. You could join the Discord, and there are multiple channels on the Discord where you can share various links or whatnot that I can then in turn bring up during the live stream. And then finally, the Storytellers Society still accepting open submissions. This is an opportunity that I'm extending for my peers, my fellow indie writers out there. You're looking to expand your creative portfolio, if you will. I'm accepting submissions over there at the LFLR network at livefreeliverich.com. Flash fiction, looking for flash fiction around 1,500 words. Could be as short as 500 words, but no longer than 2,000 words. Any genre is acceptable. And if approved, then you will book yourself a room at the Hotel del SS, where all the members of the Storytellers Society stay. And that's it for announcements. So now we get into before we get into the video, I do have something to read, and In this segment, I like to read various pieces. This is your opportunity to get something read during the Hangout stream that you would like featured. If you want to feature on the stream and you have a blog where you post your own poetry, flash fiction stories, it could even be essays, so long as they're, they're thought-provoking, they're meant to stimulate imagination, could kind of dovetail into the realm if it's covering topics that are writing related. Also, I've read editorials. I think editorials are fun. So if you read books and you write editorials sharing your opinion on said books or literature, then I could also read those during the stream. It's always fun. I've had it done with my work before too. I've had flash fiction read out loud. It's just fun to see somebody else reading your writing out loud, I think. And this comes from Jeffrey Matusha, and he writes, upper and lower class meet for coffee. The opening scene from my novel in progress, A Long, Slow Aftermath, coming out in January. Well, I believe it's already out. That was a pretty old tweet. I do have quite a few requests in the queue. Not so much with reading, though. I'm starting to catch up. But this is, I guess, an excerpt from his story, Coffee Walk, an excerpt from my novel in progress, A Long, Slow Aftermath, and this by Jeffrey Matusha via his blog, Terminal Berkeley Denizen at needlepictures.com. So let's check it out. At some point, if I get more people in the chat, then I could be a little bit more interactive. I'd like to do things like polls and stuff like that, like live during the show. I think that would be fun. Okay. But of course, you're always welcome to just come, hang out, and just listen to me chit chat in your ear. Coffee Walk, an excerpt. And he says, okay, so this is an excerpt from my novel in progress, A Long, Slow Aftermath, coming out in January. This scene is the very beginning of the work in which we meet Preston and his friend Toshi, his friend and landlord's girlfriend. This is a work in progress, so any feedback appreciated. Of course, I'll have links to their blog in the description after the show. You get in contact with them find their social medias. She used to let me crash at her place, said Preston, back when I was couch surfing between places, curb. See, I don't know about this, why it's saying curb, the word curb at random. I don't really understand that, why that's in there. So, but I'm just going to read it I'm just going to read this exactly how it's written. Sometimes she would make these big, huge pots of spaghetti in one of those large metal kitchen pots, and we would chow out on hydrant right spaghetti leftovers for the rest of the week. It was a rainy day with a few long and thin clouds streaking across the sky. A light and cool wind drafted by as they made their way to the High Street, about a 10-block walk from where they lived. That's just so weird, said Toshi. I can't imagine living in a warehouse. You grew up in Montclair, right? Lamppost, right. Yeah, up in the Oakland Hills. Shoot. The only time I ever went to the hills, curb, is when I had to work up there for a contractor. Stairs. They walked up the short concrete stairs and crossed the parking lot to get to the coffee shop. I'm almost thinking that maybe his friend's blind and he's just like, he's announcing these things for his friend. That's a guess. I lost touch with Thea when I moved to San Francisco. Door. Toshi reached out for the door just as someone from inside opened it. Someone opened the door? Asked Toshi as she waved her hand. Yeah. Several people, see, look at that. I'm psychic. Several people who were waiting for their coffee parted for Preston and Toshi as they entered the cafe. Preston led Toshi up to the end of the line as she kept her white seeing eye cane close to herself. Long line, said Toshi. Long line, said Toshi. Everybody wants to get their caffeine. Preston scanned the line as a few people glanced in their direction. Preston could not help but feel conspicuous. He was wearing his black crass shirt as it was the least offensive of his clean band shirts. He had on his better pair of black jeans, but they were starting to fade. He felt it was quite a stark contrast to Toshi, who was wearing a light gray blouse and a long gray skirt that looked as if it came from an exclusive clothing store. He also had very little hair. He had been cutting it shorter and shorter until it was almost a buzz cut. What's wrong with a buzz cut? Toshi's long black hair was tied back into an elegant ponytail. Toshi screwed up her face. Smelling that coffee when I can't drink it yet is torture. Tell me about it. So you lost track of Thea when you left for San Francisco? I lost track of just about everybody I knew in the East Bay when I went out to San Francisco. That's when I got deep into the scenes. Oh, yeah. Toshi stopped herself. Kind of a long story, said Preston. Kind of. After getting their coffee, Preston led Toshi out to the cafe and to a table in a far corner of the Market Hall quad, away from the general crowd. I got deep into the speed scene, said Preston. Like, really deep. Speed? You mean methamphetamine? Asked Toshi as she held her coffee aloft in an effort to cool it down. Yep. So you were using it all the time? Not at first. When I first started using it, I only did it occasionally, like once every other month or so. But then I started using it more often, say about once every other weekend. And eventually that became once a weekend. And then I binged on a weekend and started doing maintenance lines during the week. Toshi sat back. Maintenance lines? Because you were craving it so much? Nah, to keep myself awake at work. Awake? I don't know if I like how she keeps questioning every single line. Maybe like just a couple times, but doing that much speed on the weekend means you're burnt out afterwards. You need to keep doing it to function. What kind of work were you doing? I worked at a music store selling musical equipment, mostly guitars. Surprise, surprise. Toshi tried taking a sip of her coffee. She winced as it was still too hot. You were that burned out from using it on the weekends? You don't sleep when you're on that stuff or eat. Toshi's eyebrows went up. You don't eat when you're doing the speed? Did she not hear him the first time? This Toshi character is starting to peeve me a little bit. You got no appetite when you're high on meth. In fact, The idea of eating food is kind of gross. I mean, yeah, you do eat a little so you don't like die, of course. But eating is not much fun when you're wired. Wow. Toshi held her coffee cup out in front of herself. My coffee is still too hot, she said as she waved her hand over it. Toshi tossed her head. Her ponytail hit Preston on the side of the face. Gah! Yep, yowped Preston. Did I smack you with my hair again? Y'all whip people with that long hair. I like having long hair. Toshi took a gentle sip of her coffee. It would be easier to drink if you put some milk in it. I like it black. Toshi turned her head around. You haven't described the scene to me yet. It would have been cool if she said, I like it dark, right there, given the context. Preston looked out over the shopping hall crowd, checking out the people sitting at their tables and walking by. It's pretty crowded, mostly just plain Janes and Joes. I think there are a couple of college students of by the cafe though. Any dogs? Preston squinted as he scanned the area. Nope, not seeing any. Wait, there's one little white doggy. A middle-aged woman is holding on to him. She's sitting at a table and he's poking his nose out of her jacket. Aw, I want a small doggy I can carry around in my jacket. If you got a dog, wouldn't it have to be a seeing eye dog? Toshi tilted her head as she thought about it. Maybe I can have both. One big seeing eye dog and one little dog I can carry. You could always have a little dog ride the big dog like a horse. Toshi waved her hand towards the quad. So really, what's going on today? Preston leaned forward with his coffee. Just a lot of yuppie scum. Jesus Christ. Judgmental, huh? Just a lot of yuppie scum. A few suburban college students. Nobody really interesting. That's a shame. Toshi put her coffee down on the table and leaned back. Thanks for taking me out again. Ain't no thing. I need my coffee. It really is a drag being all alone in that house. How many times has Thea gone out of town this year? Toshi leaned forward and picked up her coffee. I lost count. She goes on some business trips or conference thing at least once a month. This latest trip is the second time this month she's had to run off. Preston looked out over the quad. He looked at the shops, the gourmet markets, the all too clean high-end home improvement store, and the clothing shop that looked as if not one speck of dust inside of it. They were all stores and businesses that he could never afford. He thought to himself that he would never patronize such places in the first place, even if he did have that kind of money. Toshi leaned towards Preston. Do you mind if I ask you more about the whole speed thing? Nah, I don't mind. It's not anything I'm hiding. So you kept using it when you were working at the music store? Yeah, at Levygate Guitars. And then later at the Undurfed Artists store. You just kept using it more and more? I started go-betweening for my friends and coworkers. Go-betweening? You mean dealing? Preston leaned on the table. It wasn't really dealing. Dealers like to keep themselves insulated, so I would take people's money and go to my dealer and make a buy, buying for my friends as well as myself. You mean you would take other people's money and buy for them? Yeah. It's like you got to spell everything out for this broad, huh? And they trusted you with their money? Well, maybe. More like they were willing to trust me because they really wanted their drugs. Toshi sat back and paused for a moment. Sounds like dealing. I wasn't making any money off it, at least at first. But eventually I started buying in bulk and selling to people I knew. That got me started. All right, you got me. Over the next couple of years, I was selling more and more and making new connections. And eventually, I had go-betweens coming to me for supplies. Then you were a dealer for like a year or two. And then those go-betweens started buying more and more from me. I eventually moved on from being a dealer to a small-time supplier. A supplier, a drug dealer for drug dealers, someone who sells in bulk. I feel like we're getting a lesson in drug dealing here. Where did you buy your drugs from? Preston shuffled his feet. I got my dealer to introduce me to his supplier. You mean someone who sold even more drugs than you did? This is like drug dealing 101 for 5-year-olds. That's what I feel like I'm reading right now. Just a little bit too much detail. I'd say that this is a little bit of overwriting here. You should be making a little bit more assumptions that the reader knows what you're talking about when you refer to this or that. But I digress. You mean someone who sold even more drugs than you did? Preston turned to Toshi. I'm talking about the guy who knew the guy who actually made the stuff. Wow. Toshi held her coffee as she took in what Preston had told her. Preston turned and looked around the quad, trying to see if he could spot anything interesting that he could describe to Toshi. I mean, in all fairness, maybe perhaps the author is going into such detail here and reiterating so much, perhaps to maybe illustrate, like, I don't know, the type of, I don't know. I can't even say this would refer to their relationship, because if the characters have a relationship, then you'd think that they'd already be privy to at least a little bit of this knowledge. I hope my questions weren't too personal, said Toshi quietly. Preston turned to Toshi. Nah, it's not a big deal. I don't hide the fact that I'm an addict. I mean, not to people I know, at least. Can I ask you something else? Go ahead. So, yeah, exactly. To people he knows, but yet that's supposed to be his best friend. So that seems like a little bit of a plot hole there. But I could just be splitting hairs a little bit. Go ahead. Were you still using it while you were dealing more of it? Hell yeah, I was. The more speed I sold, the heavier I got into it. Eventually, I started smoking it, and that's when I went really nuts. Nuts. Preston put both hands on his coffee, and he quickly glanced around to make sure no one was close enough to hear him. I was using it so much that I started to have crazy mood swings. And sometimes I started to hear things like voices, the sounds of people moving around. And sometimes I heard entire conversations from people who weren't even there. Oh my God, that stuff was making you hallucinate? It was from all the wear and tear and lack of sleep. I'd look down the street and see people staring at me, just standing on the corner and looking up at my apartment. I was convinced they were narcs or cops or scumbags who wanted to rip me off. I would look around and check it out, and a lot of those people hanging around outside of my house turned out to be mailboxes or fire hydrants, or sometimes nothing at all. My God. Toshi moved her head around as if she were looking out over the quad. Seeing things that aren't even there sounds worse than not seeing anything at all. Preston leaned on the table again. It probably depends on what it is you're seeing. I never tried anything like meth, said Toshi as she leaned back. I tried cocaine once. It made my face all numb. I didn't like it. Trust me, meth makes cocaine look like Bud Light. I wouldn't know. Preston shifted around as a couple took a table somewhat close to him and Toshi. I've been partial to weed myself, said Toshi, and on occasion, and an occasional cocktail. I don't do any of that stuff anymore, said Preston. Not even weed? Not even weed. That sounds rough. It can be. said Preston as he looked out over the quad. And scene. Interesting. So we get well, I said what I said about it. I will say that it is, the story does, the characters do seem compelling. Well, at least the Preston character does. The Toshi character is actually quite annoying, if I'm to be frank. But there it is. And now let's get into videos. I can take a little break here, kick back, relax, and watch the presentation. I will add a little bit of commentary here and there. The thing about videos is with this segment, and I don't get a lot of videos. Actually, if you guys have videos, one idea for videos was tag videos. So if you do a tag, if you're familiar with tags on YouTube, Monty, I know you are if you're still in the chat. If you ever do a tag video and you feel so inclined to tag me in the video, then I will try my hand at doing the tag live on the stream. Or at the very least, I'll watch your video and I'll try to play along to the best of my ability. Depends what kind of tag it is. Really, that's what it's going to boil down to. But also, for you artists out there, you other creators out there, if you are interested in having a video featured, one thing I'd say, because I have so many books in the queue right now for mentions or shout outs, I would say if you want to kind of get your work featured on during a live stream and kind of expedite that process, then I would say share a link to a book trailer that you've made. So if you've made a book trailer and you've uploaded it to YouTube, it doesn't have to be on YouTube. It could be on an alt media site, but I'll just review it ahead of time, make sure it's YouTube appropriate. I will play your book trailer during the live stream and kind of give you my first reactions, first impressions of what I see. In that same note, with if you are, it's not just to writers. Hey, but better late than never. You are just in time for the video segment. We do have a video to watch, and it's a special one. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. But if you are, say you're a comedian, it doesn't just have to be storytelling, but comedian, if you do like bits, skits, sketches, or stand-up routines, I would not mind featuring something like that on the live stream as well. Give you a shout out that way. So let's get right into it here. Down to the last, it's about 20 minutes long, a little bit longer, and we're creeping up on that hour mark. That's where I like to keep it. So, as I said before, Doorway to Nightmare is the name of the YouTube channel. We'll be adding their links to the description post-production. But I went on to say, I did go on to say, I had a little exchange with them online because, as I said before, I was already previously aware of their channel. I said, hell yeah, what a pleasant surprise. And I asked if I could pick any video to feature, and did respond. He said that there are 54 episodes of Doorway to choose from. Personally, I recommend The Woods, The Wonderful Woods, Rampage, Home Security, or Shadows. But of course, we like them all. And he said, yes, you can take your pick. And thank you. No, thank you very much for making my stream a pleasure to produce and giving me some great content to feature. I would say I did actually, I'm already familiar with all the titles that he suggested. The Woods, I mean, if you give me permission to choose freely, then you already know damn well, if you know anything about me, I'm going to exercise carte blanche, baby. That's just who I am. But I have seen The Woods. Oh, no, that's fine, Monty. Don't worry about it. I have watched The Woods, The Wonderful Woods, or listened to rather, and that one, it made me chuckle at some points. There's a part in the dialogue. It's about a husband and wife going through divorce. Well, the husband's trying. I think it's the husband is trying to get the wife to just sign the divorce papers, and they're having a little exchange out in the woods. And then there's a twist at the end. Rampage. In that same vein, I did find that it was a little bit on the comical side, a little bit. I don't think it was meant to be campy as it kind of came off because of, or maybe it was, but it had kind of like this like a campy Psycho type vibe, but like more of like a Hitchcock Psycho. And then Home Security. Home Security is a really cool one, and I suggest. Maybe you guys on your own time, you could check that one out. That one's really cool. However, the ending by the end of the second act, I think it was by the end of the second act or the very beginning of the third act, I pretty much already predicted like what the ending was going to be on that one, but still cool nonetheless. And Shadows is actually an audio book of, I think, one of the short stories of Winslow's from one of his collections. So that one's actually separated from these other three, because what I wanted to say is what they do is it's not just audio books. It's not just audio reading. They actually have actors, and it's essentially like screenplay. If you think of it as like, I'm sure you guys might be familiar, but say like the old radio broadcasts where you'd have a show or something like that, a program or like a drama or something like that on the radio, they would have actors, and it's actually like voice dialogue acting with ambient sound effects and stuff like that to kind of set the scene and set the mood. So the reason why I really like this medium is because, well, I'm not really into audiobooks so much. I do enjoy reading out loud, but myself, I'm not really into audiobooks because I prefer to just read the literature for myself and use my own imagination, because I feel like sometimes the audio narrator's voice could be distracting. But as far as this medium goes, this medium is a whole other thing in it and of itself, because for me, I feel like this medium right here is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from doing screenplays. I mean, you could easily take one of these pieces of work and just turn it into and turn it into a TV show episode of some sort, or like a playwright or something like that. Oh, okay. Are you talking about full production books? Are you talking about, well, you'll hear on this one, and then you let me know if it's similar or if you're still talking about like audiobooks, because this is basically, picture this is going to be like, it's like watching a movie but without the picture, and where the visuals lack, there's a narrator to kind of fill in the gaps as far as what's going on. So you'll see. And that's why I was excited to be able to, like, this is something that I actually am endorsing that people go check out, because they're like you said, he's been doing it for about a year and a half now, and I really think that their channel deserves more attention. But the presentation that I chose for tonight comes from, it's Doorway to Nightmare. This comes from season 4, episode 8, and it's entitled "It Will Drive You Crazy" by Winslow Swan and Crimson McKenzie, and via Doorway to Nightmare on YouTube, their YouTube channel. Oh, okay. All right. Let me get my headphones in, and then I'll be able to kind of kick back and relax and enjoy this presentation with you guys. Well, this show, I should say. More of a show. Enjoy the show. If for whatever reason the audio is not the greatest, then you guys can just let me know if it's too loud or too low. If I'm probably going to end up turning it down, but if it's too low, then you guys can let me know. Oops. I'll use this screen. The visuals aren't really a big deal. Like I say, this is something that you could listen to without the visuals. They say that they do add, pictures and stuff. They do add pictures like during the show, basically just to kind of paint. It's not. It just kind of add a little flavor to it, if you will.
This is Winslow.
This is Crimson.
And if you like what we're doing,
hit the like button.
And if you want to hear more,
subscribe.
And please share it to all your friends.
Everybody.
With this key, you unlock the world to your dreams. What lies beyond could be the doorway to nightmare. Come in. Welcome. I'm your host through the doorway to nightmare. I have always considered myself a connoisseur of that genre of film that elicit emotions of fear and horror. In other words, the scary movie. Yet it seems as the years roll along, we are bombarded with reworkings of films, sequels, and continuations of stories that should have ended long ago.
Do you realize the cost of the special effects alone?
I don't care what the cost is. I want it.
Emma, the studio can't afford to...
Look, Leonard, how much are we really talking to produce my movie?
Nobody has that kind of money. Now why can't you just put another sequel out?
How much?
All right, with all of the effects, not to mention the actors that you want, we're talking at least $7 million.
Who do I make the check out to?
Our mystery drama, It Will Drive You Crazy, was written especially for Doorway to Nightmare by Winslow Swan and edited by Crimson McKenzie. Our stars, Crimson McKenzie, Dave Arkhipov, and Winslow Swan. It is
that's what I wanted to say too, that they had another actor in there. So Dave Arkhipov.
Sponsored in part by Swanage Press. I'll be back shortly with Act 1. It can be the most thrilling ride that you have ever been on without ever leaving your chair. The horror movie. There are many different types, from the slow-moving, suspenseful film to the in-your-face, graphic showing of blood and gore. But essentially, they are all the same. A piece of film flashing before your eyes and scaring the wits out of you.
Set me up, Ray.
There you go, Miss Greenberg.
Here is to another banner year for Gateway Pictures.
That bad, huh?
Bad. My last picture only cost 10 mil to make and brought 140 mil at the box office, but you know, that was just domestic.
So, why are you so down?
Because it's the same old crap. Same storylines, same killers, the same special effects. I mean, how many ways can you dismember a body on film?
They can't all be bad, can they?
Name one.
What about Terror on Heath Row? That was pretty...
Crap. It's all garbage now. And God help you if you try to have an original idea. Oh no, it gets shot down quick. Oh, great movie. Now how about a sequel? We could take this to part 27. It's all crap that gets shoved down the throats of audiences.
As long as they keep buying tickets, who cares?
I care. Oh, God.
It's very
Pour
dramatic.
me another one, please.
So why don't you write a movie?
I'm sorry. I don't think that I heard you.
You keep complaining about the bad movies. Why don't you write one and make it?
Because I'm a producer. I find the money. I make sure the actors are happy. I check out the scenery and the music. It's all up to me, but will anyone remember my name?
So write a script and do it.
I'm not a writer. Not at all.
And what are you complaining about?
Great return so far, Emma. The shareholders are very happy.
Yeah, whatever.
So we need to start working on what part are we on now?
117.
You always can make me laugh.
I mean, does the public really want Slime Bag Part 8? A new beginning.
Emma, they will eat it up.
Why not something original for a change?
Because originality is overrated.
And it's not guaranteed profits.
Exactly.
Leonard, what if I were to bring you an original script? Completely different story. Would the studio back me?
Gee, I don't know, Emma. I mean, we are very happy with your returns. Your last 15 movies have shown a profit every time.
But 13 of them were sequels.
I tell you what, you bring me a script, let me take a look, and we will see what we can do.
And you will read it?
Emma, have I ever lied to you?
Only when your lips are moving.
Yeah, yep. Always makes me laugh.
I really like the way that he writes scene there. That was a good way to close out that scene.
Now, to come up with a story. Who am I kidding? I'm not a writer. Now stop it, Emma. Emma Greenberg, you can do this. You just need a little inspiration. I mean, how hard could it be? Hey, set me up, Ray.
Hey, Miss Greenberg. Haven't seen you in here for a few weeks. Working on another blockbuster?
I suppose you could call it that. I actually took your advice and I wrote a script.
Hey, that's great. Any chance of letting me read it?
Actually, I was kind of hoping that you would. I need an outsider's opinion before I show it to anyone else.
So you're asking for my honest opinion?
I would not expect any lies from you.
Miss Greenberg, I consider you a friend. I wouldn't want to hurt your feelings if
it's not any good. When you're a producer, you don't have any go to bruise. Don't.
She's kind of coming off as like a bitch, huh? Like the way she's talking to this bartender guy.
worry, Ray. No matter what you think of it, you'll still be my friend. I mean, of course, if you don't like it, you may have to keep the drinks coming until I pass out.
It's a deal.
Hello?
Emma,
Ray, what time is it?
it doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore.
Ray? It's 3 in the morning. What's wrong?
I just wanted to warn you. Don't come down to the bar.
It's 3 in the morning. I have no intention of...
Blood. It's everywhere. So much blood.
Ray, are you okay?
I read your script. It really got to me. It made me do things. Horrible things. I used an axe. I can't believe all the blood.
No. Ray, what are you saying?
Terrible, horrible things. I can't bear it.
No! Ray!
Emma looks at the phone in horror. She quickly begins to get dressed and heads to the bar to find out what has happened. You find out by returning with me for Act 2.
That's what I mean. The writing, as you can hear, the writing on this is really well done. I mean, the way that he sets up the way that they set up the scenes and then close the scenes is almost seamless from one scene to the next. And then I like how when the narrator comes in, it kind of just fills in those gaps for you when necessary.
The first movie that was considered to be horror was filmed in 1896 by French director HIAWMLIA, titled The House of the Devil. It ran 3 minutes, and the genre of horror in films was born.
And you say he did all of this just by reading your script?
That's why he told me. Oh, Leonard, it was horrible. The police were all over the place. 27 people dead, including Ray, who shot himself in the head. No matter how they tried to cover the scene, you couldn't help but see the blood. It was flowing into the street like a river.
Wow. What a gimmick.
What are you talking about?
Oh, Emma, I think this is the best advertising gimmick that you have ever come up with.
It's no damn gimmick. Ray killed those people and himself just from reading the damn script.
Okay. Oh, don't get angry. I read it and it didn't affect me.
That's true.
Yeah, the only problem is...
Why did I not see this coming?
Now, don't be like that. Have you considered the cost?
Of course I have.
Yeah. I mean, just the special effects alone will cost it.
Don't worry about that.
Emma, it's the only thing that I do worry about.
What if I put the money up?
Do you have $7 million just lying around? I mean, that's the bare cost that we can come up with.
Wow. Who do I make the check out to?
Why do I feel stipulations coming on?
Of course there are stipulations. I retain all rights to this film, including any pay-per-view or home sales, and I get 50% of the take for the first run.
You must be out of your ever-living mind.
You said it yourself. It's the best advertising gimmick of all time. So, who do I make the check out to?
Come in, Emma. You want a drink?
Of course. But look, Leonard, I'm sorry I wasn't at the screening, but there were...
Never
Of
mind.
course.
Never mind. It's okay. So, you don't know what happened?
They didn't like it?
Oh, no. On the contrary. It drove the test audience right over the edge.
That's fantastic! So when do we release?
We don't.
What?
We never will.
You can't do that to me.
It's already been decided.
Leo, what happened?
I only saw the first few minutes of the film. I had a phone call that I had to take. Well, it lasted longer than I would have liked, but when I got back to the auditorium, I almost threw up.
Quit dragging this out and just tell me.
Everybody, the entire audience, they were dead. They had used whatever they could find, and they tore each other up. You wouldn't believe the blood.
Then this is wonderful.
Wonderful? Have you lost your mind?
Think about it, Leo. I can see the poster now. We have the title, and directly under it, in blood-splattered letters, it says, "It will drive you crazy."
We can't do that. I've already ordered all the prints to be destroyed.
What? I knew it. I knew that if anyone, including me, had come up with something original, you would find a way to shoot it down.
But calm down, Emma. I like making money just as much as the next person, but this film, there is something about it that, well, it really does drive people insane.
So based on one, count them, one audience reaction, you're ready to destroy something that I worked so hard on?
No, it's not just me. It's the studio, the shareholders, the other producers and directors that work here. Look, I have a responsibility.
No. Well, it's a damn good thing that I kept a print of the film.
What are you talking about?
Simply this, Mr. Leonard Stone. I'm going to distribute the film myself. I paid for it to be made. So now I will pay for it to be released, and you and your studio can go to hell!
There have been stories about movies, music, books, and even plays that have seemingly caused a violent reaction in certain people. But I have never heard of a film making an entire audience insane. I'll return shortly with Act 3. The author Ray Bradbury once said that there was more than one way to burn a book, and the world is full of people with lit matches.
Just make sure that the billboards are correct. I don't want to have to drive down the street again and see "It will drive you hazy" again. Crazy! Crazy! Well, you take care of it! Come in.
Emma, is it okay? No firing squad waiting?
Leonard, come on in. It's okay.
I understand that you got your film into 120 theaters. Not bad.
Oh, after the premiere tonight, it's only going to get bigger.
And it's a pretty good gimmick. Not starting any premiere until midnight.
Exactly at midnight, across all time zones.
I don't follow.
Midnight on the East Coast, 11 Central Time, 10 Mountain Time, and 9 on the West Coast.
Oh, so no matter where you are, the film is going to start at the same time.
Exactly.
Emma, have you watched the movie?
I don't have to. I wrote the damn thing. Remember?
Oh, yes, I remember very well. Have you seen this?
What's this?
Apparently, some theater in Denver did not adhere to your rules of not showing the film until the designated time. They decided to have a special showing this afternoon for a select group.
No. That's bull. So
Read the article.
30 people thought that they were going to see a simple horror film in Denver today. What they got was a bloodbath? 25 handpicked people were invited to a special showing of the upcoming film from Saturn Pictures, a new company headed by Emma Greenberg. All 25, including the manager and 4 employees, were slaughtered by what one person described as a frenzy of mass murder. What?
I tried to warn you, Emma. I did warn you. There is something about that film that actually drives people crazy. You've got to stop the premiere now.
Andrew, get me the marketing department. Marketing? Get me what paper is this? The Denver Herald, afternoon edition. There's a story in there on the front page. Now listen close. I want you to plaster that story everywhere. All social media, buy as much time on TV and radio as you can. Don't let up. Push this as hard as you can.
Emma, what in God's name are you doing?
Don't you see, Leonard? I have it set up so that it's going out at the same time in every time zone around the world, on every platform that the internet is connected to. They will all see it at the same time. The same time. Something original, something so terrifying that it will drive them insane.
Emma, have you lost your... Oh, Lord, no. No, Emma, no.
Think of it, Leonard. I wrote it, produced it, and now I'm distributing it. It's my baby. Mine, alone. And the audience, the people who are foolish enough to watch it for free, will pay with their lives and their souls.
God, what have you done?
We put killers up on the screen. Show people the inhumanity of murder in its most barbaric, basic form. Do people care? No. They just keep wanting more and more. More blood, more killings, more violence. I'm giving them exactly what they want. And this is a movie that will not have a sequel.
Such a chilling last final line of dialogue in that. That now you can see why that one's one of my favorites. They set up that punchline so well, I thought, from beginning to end. Well, in the first act, they were really focused on talking about rerun sequels, and then kind of sprinkled it throughout, and then the originality. And I like how the movie, even though she created the movie, she's the one being driven crazy by it, even though she didn't even see it.
Leonard shakes his head in disbelief. He sees the insanity in the eyes of Emma Greenberg, and he realizes that what she is saying is right. I'll be back shortly with a final word. Is there such a thing as a film that drives someone mad? Police files say a boy and his cousin in LA, obsessed over a film, murdered his mother by stabbing her 45 times. A man wearing a mask shot and killed a woman in Florida. And in England, a pair of boys repeatedly stabbed a third one, claiming a film had prompted them. Perhaps it all is just a coincidence, right? Our cast included Crimson McKenzie, Dave Arkhipov, and Winslow Swan. The story was edited by Crimson McKenzie, and the entire production was under the direction of Winslow Swan.
So there it is. get a little taste of their production quality and the type of content that they put on their YouTube channel. Like I say, I can't endorse the channel enough. I really dig it, and I'm looking forward to the next season. And who knows? Maybe even I could get in on the action. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to get in contact with Winslow. How fun would that be to be able to play a character on one of those shows? I would really dig that. I could do voices. I wonder if I should send him if I should put together some sort of formal voice audition thing or whatever. I don't know, but that'd be interesting. I really like I say, I just really like that style, that production style. It is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from screenplays, and you could easily see how something like that could be adapted to TV or the big screen or something like that. But so that's the live stream. I really appreciate you for stopping by, Monty, and hanging out with me during the live broadcast. And for the rest of you, you're watching this on the replay, go ahead, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the show. And I will be back. I'll be back here next week for you all. Monday, regular time. Cheers.